Ever wondered how to paint characters from The Last of Us? Today, I'm showing you my process painting of Joel, Ellie, and Abby, plus sharing what I think about the show versus the game. Whether you're an artist or a fan, stick around, because this one's for you. Hello, welcome. My name is Eva, and welcome to my channel, where today I am painting characters from The Last of Us. So, the second season of The Last of Us recently aired, and I liked it. You know what I mean? I liked it. I enjoyed the first season a lot, and I'd already played the games. I played the first game years ago, and I played the second game when it came out like 5 years ago now. So when I watched the second season, the details were still kind of fuzzy when it came to the game because it was like 5 years ago. So I forgave certain things that happened because I just didn't remember how it was in the game. But I will say though, I'm currently replaying the second game and I am noticing certain things that I'm like, okay, yeah, the show definitely kind of dropped the ball in certain areas, and I'll get to that in a minute. But the one thing that I think was probably better in my opinion was Pedro Pascal as Joel. Like, he was phenomenal. I loved him as Joel. I think a lot of us loved him as Joel. And of course, if you know, if you watch the second season, you know what happens. And even all of that, I think, was way more heartfelt because just the acting, and then the fact that yeah, I thought he did a phenomenal job in the second season, which is why I'm like, I want to paint him. Let me just paint him just to show my appreciation, you know what I mean, for his version of Joel Miller. And yeah, not to say he's the only actor that's doing a good job. Like, I think Bella Ramsey is doing fine too. I do think there's issues on how her character is written in the second season, which again I'll talk about when I get to her portrait in the video, because I am doing a portrait of her too. So yeah, basically just kind of added Joel to my kind of recent portrait practice I've been doing, because I'm trying to kind of elevate my game on that, and I guess was confident enough to try to paint him. I did what I could, this didn't take me, I didn't spend like too much time on it, but I guess I just wanted to see if I could do it, because I painted, Pedro Pascal as Joel before, or not painted, I drew him before. I think when the first season came out, I did artwork for both him and Bella Ramsey as Ellie. And the artwork's okay. I don't know if I'm like that proud of it now, but and I feel like that took me like a lot more effort to do, because I wasn't really doing a lot of realistic portraits back then. But now that I've been doing a little bit of practice, I'm like, let me try painting Joel, especially because Joel is like an older man. I usually like to paint like women, or quite frankly, mostly like younger people. So I was like, let me try to, to elevate this and try to do Pedro Pascal justice here, as Joel. So this was just me practicing, really, and just kind of use Joel as an example or as a model, so to say. So I did feel a little more comfortable painting this versus like the first time I did the fan art of, Joel. And I think this is still me practicing. I don't think I'm at the level where I'm like, oh, this is like a masterpiece. I don't know if I'm like at that level, at least not to myself. But then, what artist is ever satisfied with their own work? It's not often, but especially the thing of like artists is like, you'll finish a piece and like in that moment you might be like, okay, this looks fine. But then like the next day you'll look at it and you'll be like, this looks horrible. What the heck? You'll see all the mistakes and you'll just cringe. Like, why did I even share this with the world? Like, that happens more than you think when it comes to artists. I'm sure that'll happen with this one. Maybe give it like a month, maybe a year. I'll look at this and be like, oh my God, like, why did I do that? But my eye isn't really trained to notice the bigger mistakes now. I'm sure there's mistakes, but my eye's not trained for it. You know what I mean? But, it's fine. Just a sweet little portrait. Nothing serious. Just get it out there. Even if it sucks, just do it anyways, because the more you do, the better you get. Like, it's literally that simple. So, and then someone else might think it looks great. You never know. So just share it. Who cares? So yeah, I did use a reference for this, by the way. This is based off the scene where he's talking to the psychiatrist, where he says, I saved her. I don't want to show the actual clip, like copywritten, but... So there's Joel. And let's move on. So like I said, I also did a portion of Ellie, but not Bella Ramsey Ellie, but game Ellie. Because like I said, I'm replaying the second game and I kind of forgot how much of a beast Ellie was. Like, she's kind of a beast and I love her for it. And I'm kind of sad the show didn't really go there with Bella Ramsey's Ellie in the second season, because I think she would have killed it. And there's certain parts where you can see like she got the intensity down really well, but they didn't give her enough scenes like that. Whereas in the game, Ellie is like fully on a revenge plot. And I'm not going to say why in case you haven't seen the second season or played the game. But, if you haven't done either of those things, do it. Especially just watch the show. Like, that's a little bit easier to do. Anyways, Ellie is far more ruthless in the game. And, you play as Ellie. So it really gets you immersed in her feelings and just her actions, and you're just like, wow, like none of this energy was in the show. In the show, it was almost the complete opposite. And it kind of does take you out a little bit, because you're just like, she should be feeling a little bit more angry, a little bit more vengeful, because something pretty big just happened. And yeah, so it made me kind of appreciate game Ellie a little bit more, which is why I wanted to specifically paint her. But again, that's no disrespect to Bella Ramsey. I think she's a phenomenal actress, and again, I think she would have killed this version of Ellie if they just let her be that. But for some reason, they tried to make her like very soft in the show, and I don't really know why, because I think we all would have understood if she were the kind of angrier, more ruthless version. I think we all would have understood, considering what happens in the show. And I think that would have won more people over to Bella Ramsey. I feel like she's getting a lot of disagreements and hates for whatever reason. But I think it's not really fair to her because she can only do what the script is giving her. You know what I mean? So all this to say, Game Ellie I think is superior because the writing for her was I think a lot more superior, and I think worked better considering the circumstances she was dealing with. And of course, this is a game and you're playing as Ellie, so you're going to be more immersed with her regardless. That's just going to happen. And that's just the fact of the different mediums. But I think even just watching, like for example, my sister's watching me play this game right now, and even she's like, wow, Ellie's like very different. Even just as a passive viewer, you can notice like the character is completely, she's not really the same. And honestly, I mean, Ellie's not the only character that kind of changed in the show. I would say, Dina's a little different too, in the show. In the game, she feels like 100% supportive of Ellie. I think she is in the show as well, but I feel like they gave Dina like some of Game Ellie's personality, which is weird. It's like, we could have just had all that's still been with Ellie, you know what I mean? But like when I was watching it, I wasn't unhappy with it, but only after playing the game, I'm like, wait, this works better, just personally. So that was kind of my mild issue. But again, I still enjoyed the second season, but I think the game did certain things that really didn't need much changing, you know what I mean? But I'm a sucker for revenge plots, and I guess I just really loved Ellie's kind of murder hobo behavior in the game. I just thought that was just kind of fun. So again, obviously, more portrait practice. Kind of using various refs from the game of Ellie. This kind of came out more, not as realistic. I don't know if it's because like psychologically I'm like, this is from a video game, so my brain was like, let's not make this as realistic as like the Joel one with Pedro Pascal. I don't know, but it came out kind of almost more like anime-ish. I don't even know how that happened, but it's whatever. I'm not gonna redo it. It's just a little portrait. That's not that deep, but I mean, the fact that I could even get this far, like 2 years ago, I wouldn't have had the energy to do this or the skill set to do this. So even just doing this, I'm like, this still works because of the fact that it still looks like Ellie in some, it still looks like her. Maybe not as realistic as I would have liked, but I mean, recognizable. And I think that's probably the bigger picture. Yeah, The Last of Us, one of my favorite games of all time. One of the games that brought me to play third-person shooters because I really didn't care for that genre of games until I played this one. And of course, that was mostly due to the story elements, but just a phenomenal game. Worth all the accolades, in my opinion. So now we get to personally the biggest issue I had with the show, and that was the casting of Abby. Not that the actress is doing a bad job. In fact, I actually think she's acting incredibly well. In fact, I would even argue she's kind of more intimidating when it comes to her anger and when it comes to kind of her vengeance. But as someone who played the game, and I feel like many of us, we got very attached to buff Abby, and I was no different. I really was excited because I was curious who they would cast as Abby for this role, because it's not often you see like just a buff woman like that be kind of a primary character in a video game. So I was like, they have to cast someone, who put in the work, you know what I mean? And yeah, when I saw the cast, I was just like, oh, okay, we're doing that. Now, to be fair, I did look this up, and apparently, like, the early concepts for Abby, she did kind of resemble Ellie. Like, that is true. But they decided to make her buff because they needed someone to have a different play style from Ellie, right? They needed someone to kind of be a Joel, someone to kind of match Joel's gameplay. So they kind of made Abby buff more so for mechanic reasons, but they tied it into the story by, I don't want to say spoilers, but to serve as a motivation, or basically to serve as part of her motivation to do something. And listen, you guys probably know what I'm talking about, but I'm just trying to be safe here. So yeah, Abby in the game, I mean, I'm gonna be 1,000%. I don't hate Abby. You know what I mean? You play as her in the game. As someone who gets immersed pretty quickly in games, especially story-based games, it was kind of impossible to continue hating the character. After like the 8th hour you're playing as them, it's just, I don't know. For me, it's like the story wasn't like weak to where I wasn't invested. For some people, it might be different. And I know for many people it was different. But for me, it wasn't. So I enjoyed Abby's character. And, I'm still excited to see what they'll do with her in the 3rd season. Because I know the actress will bring it on that regard. But I'm like, fingers crossed, maybe she'll bulk up. But I don't think she will. But it'd be nice. But I think I just liked how unique Abby felt, because you don't often play as a character who looks like her in a video game, unless you're playing like a fighting game or something, But like in like a serious drama, post-apocalyptic game, like you don't really, I don't know. This is kind of like unheard of. So just for that, I was like, that makes her memorable too. Like if she just looked like another Ellie, I don't think I would have cared as much. I wouldn't have been as invested, or I wouldn't have been as like interested in the character, because it's like, at least she looks physically interesting, along with being a well-written character too. But I think her character design did a lot of the weight of that too. So that's why I, kind of wanted to show my appreciation for the game version of Abby, because one, she's fun to play. What's better than, punching zombies in the face? And yeah, she was all right. You know what I mean? And of course, I'm one of those people who, once I learned her side of the story, I was like, I get it. I understand. I'm still upset, but I get it. You know what I mean? And, you understand the bigger picture that the narrative is trying to say. Vengeance isn't the answer, blah, blah, blah. But either way, I enjoyed the game. I'm not saying the game didn't have like flaws narratively. I remember back then I watched a few videos of people like coming up with like good fix-its, or like could like ways to improve the narrative, and some of them like, okay, that actually could have done so. But no story's gonna be perfect. Not many stories are perfect, unless you're Breaking Bad. No. But like, not many stories nail it. It's just kind of, that's one of the biggest challenges of storytelling. But I think for me as a game, The Last of Us 2 was fine. You know what I mean? It was fine. And I mean, back then, and even now, it's a phenomenal technical achievement and execution and display of overall quality, in my opinion. Like I'm replaying the remastered version right now, and I'm like, yeah, this game looks incredible on PS5 graphics. So, but back then I would remember being amazed in the PS4 and just what it was doing then. So it's just, on a technical level, the game was just fun to watch. But yeah, Abby, yeah, I just add her in here because, you know, she's kind of one of the main characters too, so figured she'd be appropriate to add to this little trilogy of portraits I'm doing here. And you know, I wanted to draw her arms because why not? So not really complete portraits, kind of me trying to do a little bit more, paint more of the body and using Abby as a test subject really, but I mean, I think it came out okay, but that's not up to me. All right, I think that's enough rambling. Yeah, thank you guys for watching this, and you know, if you played The Last of Us, or if you watched the show, what are your thoughts on that? You know, did you like the second season? Did you like the second game? What are your thoughts? Go ahead and share. I don't mind. And if you could like this video too, I would appreciate that as well. And of course, if you like my videos, if you've been following my channel, feel free to subscribe as well to be updated on more videos like this. All right, well, that is it. Take care, guys, and have a wonderful day. Peace.